get started, my name is Dr. Faith Nelson, and this is my daughter, Dr. Amory Wild, and we are both naturopathic doctors. We own Fidere. It's a clinic here, it's in Idaho Falls. And we also own Fiducia. It's a product line that we started a couple of years ago. And Fiducia means confidence or to trust. And that's one of the things that we really try to do with our clients is to help them build confidence and trust in themselves and the inspiration that they receive. So I want to start, and sorry, there is something in the air here. I'm not sure if it's in Utah or in the vents here, but it is making my throat a little itchy and was ill prepared for that. So if I sound like, a little funny, I'm not sure. We don't use a lot of air conditioning in Idaho Falls. It doesn't get as warm as it does here. So, okay, so I want to start with a question today, and it's, can someone be right and wrong at the same time? And if so, how would that affect you or them? Have you ever thought about that? Let's go to the next slide. I'm going to show you a picture. There is a fable of an elephant that walked by a village in Asia, and 7 blind men went out to see the elephant. And one was like, looks like a spear. Another one was like, oh, it looks like a tree, it looks like a snake. All of the blind men were right, and yet they were all wrong at the same time. When Amory and I went to school to be naturopathic doctors, they really pushed that we don't look at the body as pieces, but we look at it as a whole. And when you can look at the body as a whole, that's when real healing happens. Come on in. You're good. There was a lady I knew, her family, and she had breast cancer, and this was several years ago. And she was paying some doctors out of Texas $10,000 a week. And I was talking with her daughter-in-law, and she was telling me some stuff they had her on. They had her on quite a few different medications, but they also had her on hormones, progesterone and estrogen. And I said, well, does she not know that progesterone helps things to grow? Whether it's a baby or a tumor, that's what progesterone does. She goes, I'm pretty sure she doesn't. So she was trying to kill the cancer, and she was feeding it at the same time. And it's one of the reasons why education is really important to me. I feel that when I can help you learn and understand what's going on and empower you, that's really when I feel the best, because then you can go and make the best decisions for yourself. When someone comes into my clinic and they want to do something that I'm like, oh, I don't know that I would do it, I never tell them no, because if they're receiving that inspiration, it's always something that I want to encourage and not ever dissuade them against it. So Amory and I decided today to talk about the endocrine system. And we decided to talk about the endocrine system because 65% of Americans in their 30s are on hormone replacement drugs. And this is estrogen, progesterone, thyroid medication, and testosterone. And a lot of people are like, okay, this has been a big thing, what's the big deal? Well, what they don't tell you is once you start on hormone replacement drugs, your body stops making those hormones, and you're going to be on them for the rest of your life. And it used to be where people would get on them later 50s, 60s, kind of older in life, and I say that, but I've hit 50 this year, so I keep telling myself I'm young. But anyway, they used to get on them later on. But now they're getting on in 30s, and even we have some people that are in their 20s getting on hormone replacement drugs. And naturally, as a community, we're waiting to see what that's going to do to people later on in life. And they're really thinking the fallout from them is going to be a lot of different health issues. So I'm going to talk on the women endocrine system, and then Amory's going to speak on the men endocrine system. And so let's go to estrogen. You can see up here in the corner. Estrogen is a hormone, reproductive hormone. It produces eggs, Estrogen is sticky, okay? Something to remember we're going to talk about going forward. Over here is progesterone. Progesterone helps things to grow, whether it's a tumor or a baby. That's what progesterone does. Down here on the bottom is adrenals. Adrenals are your adaptogen hormones. They help you to adapt to anything. Anything more stressful than restful sleep is stress on the body. And then, let me tell you a little bit more. Adrenals is actually also where our fight and flight hormones come in. Can you go to the next one? Maybe. Okay. Oh, not sure why that's like that, but that's all right. You can see here, balance is where we used to live. On this side of the scale was the parasympathetic side, and over here is fight or flight. And it used to be we lived here at balance. And then when people would get stressed, get chased by a bear or whatever, they would come over here to fight or flight, and then they would come back to balance. What has happened though is that people are actually living now over here in fight or flight, and we're not coming back to balance. And that can actually cause a lot of different health issues. So if you're someone who has achy joints, brain memory fatigue, sometimes you lose critical thinking skills, digestion issues, you should know that when you're over here and you're living in fight or flight, everything gets turned off that's not essential to surviving right now, being chased by a bear. So your heart is essential, but your hands are not essential. Your digestive system is not essential. Your brain, critical thinking, is not essential when you're being chased by a bear. Adrenals, when you go back, adrenals also is where your cortisol levels come from. A little bit of cortisol is really good, helps you get out of bed in the morning, but too much cortisol can be bad. So, and this is for women or men, if you have swelling, crave sweets, if your menstrual cycle is off, ladies, or even if your sleeping schedule is off, that's actually an indication that you have high cortisol levels. And then over here behind me is thyroid. Your thyroid makes T3 and T4. 80% of the T3 and T4 that your thyroid makes is what it's T4. And T4 is inactive, meaning your body can't use it. So it sends everything to the liver. The liver activates T4, it changes it to T3, and it sends it out to your body so it can be to be used. So the liver activates and sends everything out. Estrogen, progesterone, and thyroid, everything goes to the liver first to be activated and sent out. Your liver is kind of like your main car filter. Your kidneys are another one. I don't know about you, but I feel like every time I go get my car filter changed, or my oil changed, they want to change the filter in my car. They bring it to me and they're showing me something, but I'm not sure still what I'm looking for when they bring it to me to show me it's dirty. But so anyway, I'm like, okay. And then sometimes my husband's like, you did that last time. Do not buy that this time. And I'm like, why don't you change my oil? So anyway, but we never really talk about cleansing our liver, even though it's our main filter. And like the kidneys are another one. You should know that, well, I'll tell you the kidneys first. The kidneys actually pump 7 pints of blood through them every minute. Is that not incredible? I just find that crazy. The liver pumps 3.2 pints of blood every minute through it. But the liver also performs over 5 different functions in the body. Those would include like hormone, regulating heat or producing heat, and also detoxifying and managing your blood. So the liver is extremely important, and so is the kidneys. Will you go to the next one? So I want to show you estrogen and adrenals, they go together, and so does progesterone and thyroid. If estrogen goes up, your adrenals are going to go up. If your thyroid goes down or up, progesterone is going to go the same place with it. They go everywhere together, okay? Going sideways, your estrogen and your progesterone, they balance each other. So if you think of a scale, hopefully they're both about 50-50. But if one is 80, the other one's going to be at 20. So I always think of it like 100%, okay? The bottom is the same with thyroid and adrenals. It's the same thing. Then if you'll go crosswise. Now going crosswise, these ones don't get along. Estrogen actually suppresses your thyroid, and likewise progesterone can suppress adrenals, and vice versa, going back, going upwards. All right, so I want you guys to walk through this with me. You're someone who's really stressed. Lost a job, kids, doesn't even matter. Life is stressful anymore, right? So your adrenals, maybe your cortisol spikes, but either way, you're up in fight or flight, which is going to cause your estrogen to go up as well, right? Estrogen is sticky. Remember I told you this in the beginning? What that means is estrogen sticks to the insulin receptors of your cells, so your cells can absorb insulin in the blood, which makes you, or can make you, pre-diabetic or type 2 diabetes. So it's important to remember. So estrogen is up, adrenals are up. Then the other thing it does is it suppresses the thyroid. Your thyroid, your T3 is your energy, right? It's your powerhouse. It turns on the mitochondria in your cells. So when it's getting suppressed, you're gonna have lower energy. Do you see how all this goes together? And why, like, we can't just treat if someone comes in and they're like, oh, I have adrenal fatigue. Well, yeah, you probably do have adrenal fatigue, but you also probably have some estrogen issues, and you probably have some thyroid issues. And then we also need to look at your liver, because your liver is the main thing in here, you know? And so naturally we're taught, we look at this as a whole. We don't look at the body as pieces, which is really different than Western medicine. Let's go back to the elephant. Just each area is affected. Each person, like if you have people who come in and they have, you know, high thyroid or even low, we get more low thyroid than high thyroid. It is that they have hyperthyroidism, but they also have other issues going on. So it's important to see the body as a whole. I'll just share a quick experience. When probably 10, 12 years ago, I was going through a really, really stressful time in my life. And I'd been probably in fight or flight for about 3 years. And so anyway, I was really sick, and I went into someone to kind of help, because diagnosing yourself is never a good thing. So anyway, I went into someone to kind of tell me what they thought was going on and to get some help. And he's like, oh, you're pre-diabetic. Fully believe I was pre-diabetic, no doubt about it. And he did talk about some nutritional things. The problem was we didn't address stress. We didn't talk about the estrogen that was probably really high in my body, which was making my cells sticky so they couldn't absorb the insulin. We didn't talk about thyroid, that it was probably being suppressed, which is why I was really tired at that time. And at that point I wasn't trying to have children, and but if I had been trying to have children, I wouldn't have been able to carry any, because if your thyroid is low, your progesterone is going to be low, which makes people can get pregnant, but then they have miscarriages. That's what is happening, is your progesterone is really low. And so he didn't tell me any of this. He didn't tell me my liver needed help or anything like that. And so he did give me some nutritional advice, and I started that, and I did get better a little bit at first, but then actually I got sicker. I got to where it was actually painful for me to stand for more than a couple of minutes. My stomach would just felt like a brick, and I was like, I have to sit down. And what happened was my digestive system got extremely inflamed, and actually cancer started in my digestive system. And my daughter and I found it about 5-6 years ago when we started microscopy. And microscopy is we look at blood under a microscope, and we saw that there was cancer in my digestive system. And so I got that fixed with her help at that time. So before I turn the time over to Amory, I just want to tell you some liver facts before we go on. So I tell you what I do. One of the things I do, I actually have quite a few different things I do, but I do what's called microscopy. I look at your blood live while it's still moving under a microscope, and you sit there with me. But all these black lines, they look like spider webs, tells us that the liver is sluggish, that it could use some help. And the liver can be sluggish, but so can your other organs. And it's important to get them up and moving. And I get a lot of people that ask me, well, why is the liver sluggish? Well, the main reason is going to be toxins, okay? And toxins come from a lot of different places. Ladies, I'll tell you, the number one hormone disruptor out there is makeup, cosmetics. And that's makeup we wear, hair, and body care. So that is the number one hormone disruptor, hands down. The second one is actually going to be plastic. So I love this. They did a study, and they took 37 testicles. Now, I thought they came in pairs, but maybe I was wrong, you know? So anyway, and there was plastic in every single one of those testicles. And they've actually done a bunch of dissecting of cadavers to see if there's plastic in the brain. And on average, there's a half a teaspoon of plastic in brains. And so plastic is through our whole body anymore, which actually shows up in microscopy. We can actually see it there. Another thing that's a big toxin right now is 5G. It's still new, but a lot of people are talking about it and the effects that it has, and they're still waiting to see the whole dropout of it. We're starting to see some. Another one is food. I could have done a whole class on food or stress because food is such a big deal. Nutrition is so huge. I tell people that ultra-processed food is changing the DNA makeup, your DNA makeup. It's actually making your kids ADHD and hyper and can't concentrate and focus in school. And it's the food that we're feeding them, you know, and it's really sad. People ask me what's the difference or what exactly is ultra processed food, and I say, okay, well, think about if you eat meat. Some people I know don't, but if you were to get some ground beef, it has been processed to get to ground beef, and then you cook it, which is a second process. Usually if things are more than 2 processings away, then that's ultra processed. So if it's just 2, then I call it processed. More than 2 is usually ultra processed. Or if you start with like corn and end up with Lucky Charms, it's not even the same thing. That would be an ultra-processed food. The last thing I'll mention is stress is really a big deal. It doesn't matter whether it's emotional, environmental, or physical. It shows up in your blood. If you're watching toxic things on, whether you're reading them, listening to them, music, or watching them on social media, toxins show up in your blood. I can see them. And you can see them if you're there with me because I point them out. But stress and those toxins show up in our blood. And I don't think I brought any slides for those today. But that is another big thing that is affecting our health. I do want to show you one last picture. This was in a textbook in a class that I took. And this here is the liver, this big thing here in the middle. And then all these arrows are ligaments. Okay, all of our organs have ligaments that goes to different parts of our bodies, and they help to hold our organs in place, okay? So the liver, and this is just the liver, it has ligaments that go up to your diaphragm, it goes to the front of your stomach, it goes to your right kidney, your large intestines, the duodenum, the esophagus, and the stomach. One thing you should know is that if there's a dysfunction in any of these organs, there's going to be a dysfunction in your liver, and vice versa. If your liver is struggling, all of these that the ligaments attach to is also going to have a dysfunction. And it's really important to know that and the anatomy of the body and how it works together. So I'm going to turn the time over to Amory because she's going to talk about the men, and then when I come back, I'm going to tell you how we work to clean it up. And sorry, we have to swap microphones and things. Guess they should have thought about you.
You don't. I don't have the microphone. I just have to clip. There you go.
Talk really loud.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna have her move on from this to the men. And so when we think of men, we think of testosterone. They just have that one main hormone. They don't have the two like women. So at first glance, we think that it's more simple, but I actually think that men are more complicated in more way than one. But I'm going to kind of go through how their hormone system works. So we have their adrenals and their thyroid, and their adrenals and thyroid work just like the women's do. If the adrenals go up, the thyroid will go down, and vice versa. They kind of work together that way. Ideally, they're both pulling at the same weight, but if they're not, we'll notice it here. And then we have testosterone. Now, if this goes out of balance at all, your testosterone will actually go down. It doesn't matter if your thyroid goes up or your adrenals go up. Your testosterone will go down and your estrogen will go up. Now, how is this possible? Because men don't have estrogen factors. They don't have ovaries. Well, there's a system in a man's body that is not the most friendly. But we're going to go through that quickly. So in this scenario, we're going to say this man got stressed. So his adrenals went up. And stress can be from anything. It can be from toxins. It can be from work stress. It can be from food. It can be from anything. But his adrenals went up, so he got stressed. When your body's under stress, your liver creates a hormone called sex hormone binding globulin. What that does is it binds with your testosterone and it renders it inactive, so you can't use it. You have all of this deactivated testosterone and your body sends it out to the fat cells. Now your fat cells are not the bad guys, they're just storage plants. We could do a whole class on that, but that's where you store everything. Once your body is so deprived of any hormone, it's like, we need to use this again. So again, your liver creates an enzyme this time, and this enzyme turns this deactivated testosterone into estrogen and releases it back out into your bloodstream. And that's how men are becoming estrogen dominant. They're getting all this estrogen into their body. Now, estrogen is just as sticky in men as it is in women, so it can cause those prediabetes. It's gonna stick to your insulin receptors. Type 2 diabetes is also very common. But other things that estrogen does in a man's body is it causes sleep disturbances. It causes a lot of inflammation. So testosterone is anti-inflammatory. So if you're not getting enough testosterone, you're going to be very, very inflamed. Achy joints, carpal tunnel, swelling, all of that is going to be really, really a big thing for them. Hair loss is a big one. Pot belly is a sign of estrogen dominance. But another one I don't think a lot of people know about is their mood and their mental health. They've done a lot of studies on men with anxiety, depression, and even suicidal, and they found that most of them had low testosterone. And testosterone really, really affects mood. So it's really, really important to have enough testosterone in a man's body. Now, one thing that when we think of thyroid issues, whether it's men or women, someone who has hypo or hyperthyroidism, they usually are on thyroid medication, and soon after they're usually diagnosed with prediabetes or diabetes type 2, and it's usually joined with high cholesterol. There's very few people who don't have all three once they're diagnosed with one within 5 years. And this is because when you are estrogen dominant, you have too much estrogen, it's inflaming your body doesn't want this estrogen, it turns estrogen into cholesterol to stop the inflammation of it, which is why you're going to have high cholesterol also with those. So now kind of going away from the male endocrinology, we're going to talk a little bit more about other hormones that are not sexual that people don't necessarily think of. So how many people do you know that just struggle really hard with exhaustion and burnout? They get to the end of the day and they can't make any more decisions. Like they have decision fatigue. They can't decide what they want for dinner. They don't know what they want to do tonight. They're just exhausted. They don't have that mental capacity to even really be emotionally there. This comes back to your kidneys not functioning properly. We talked about how your liver is one of your main filters. Well, your kidney is your second main filter. Your kidneys work really, really hard constantly. They can filter up to 395 gallons per day, which is a ton of blood. They also, on a regular day, use 400 kcal per kilogram of energy, which is a ton. That is 2 times more than your liver and 2.5 times more than your brain. So your kidneys use up a ton of energy. But when you're stressed, like my mom mentioned, your adrenals sit right on top of your kidneys. So when you're stressed, those floodgates open and all of that cortisol goes right down into your kidneys, which is a great system. When you're being chased by a bear, you want it into your bloodstream quick so you can get up and you can run for your life. But when it's constantly being pumped into your kidneys, it can cause a lot of issues. And it causes your kidneys to work really, really hard. A lot of times, your energy from your kidneys will go up from 400 kcal per kilogram up to 1,600 kilograms, which is a lot. That is a ton of energy that your body is using. So like I said, your kidneys work with a lot of your non-sexual hormones. One of those hormones is erythropoietin, which turns on your bone marrow and tells it to make more red blood cells. When your body's not making enough red blood cells, or when your kidney is too tired to send out that hormone to your body, you're gonna have low iron, anemia, headaches. A lot of them come from your kidneys. You're gonna have a really weak immune system, so you're gonna get sick a lot, or you're gonna stay sick forever. And you're like, oh, I should be feeling better, but you're just so exhausted and your body's so worn out, it's not getting better. Another one of those hormones is calcitrol, which, like the name, it has to do with calcium, and it tells your body to start absorbing calcium, ideally from your intestines, but when you're in fight or flight, your body's not absorbing it from your intestines because your digestive tract has slowed down, and it will leach it from your bones. Now this is bad because it's gonna make your bones really, really brittle, but your body needs calcium, so it's gonna get it wherever it can. This is why people who stress a lot have a higher likelihood of getting osteoporosis. It's because they're constantly leaching the minerals out of their bones rather than their intestines, where they should be getting that nutrients from. Now the next one I want to talk about isn't technically a hormone. It's renin, it's an enzyme, but it's very notable, it's very important. Renin is what controls your blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure or low blood pressure, they want to medicate your heart. They want to put you on medication for that. But the problem is it's not your heart's fault. It's not the heart problem at all. It's actually your kidneys. Your kidneys are releasing that hormone to tell it to speed up or to go down. So most heart problems are actually linked back to your kidneys, and you should try to treat the kidneys first. And then finally, one of the last hormones I want to talk about is your prostaglandin, which is in most of your cells, but it's actually turned on in your kidneys. It's activated by your kidneys. And what this hormone does is it does a ton, but it controls your inflammation and your swelling. So if you're swelling and you have water retention, or you have the puffy eyes, anything like that, that actually goes back to your kidneys. Another thing that it does is it actually controls your sensation of pain. When you're in fight or flight and you're running from a bear, you don't want to feel all of the branches that you're tripping over and you're scratching up your face. You don't want to feel that until you calm down. That is because your kidneys have complete control of whether or not you feel pain. So if you are constantly in pain, or you never have pain, that is definitely something you want to look at the kidneys for. They also do a lot with your smooth muscles, which is your digestive tract. Most of your organs are smooth muscles. The acid in your stomach is also controlled by your kidneys, as well as your vitamin D usage. And your liver technically turns sunlight into vitamin D, but your kidney releases the hormone to tell it to make more vitamin D. So your kidneys are super, super crucial. Now, before I turn the time back over to Faith to tell us how to fix all of this, now that we've told you all what's broken, I want to talk about the stress. So when we are in fight or flight, we are stressed, really there's only a few things that can help you come down. We have some great supplements for that, but really one of the best things you can do is dopamine. You cannot have cortisol and dopamine. It's like light and dark. You cannot have them both. If your body is releasing dopamine, you are not releasing cortisol anymore. It inactivates your cortisol. It turns it off. So dopamine is crucial. But a lot of people mistake good forms of dopamine for bad forms of dopamine. like sugar. A lot of people are going to crave sugar when they're stressed. It's not because sugar makes it feel better, it's because sugar gives you dopamine. That's why a lot of people have addictions to drugs and alcohol, because it gives you dopamine. It doesn't actually fix the problem. So you need to find healthy forms of dopamine, which is something we do a lot in our clinic, is helping people get those dopamine hits in a healthy way, some supplementation when necessary. But even once you turn off the adrenals and you calm down, this whole thing is still out of whack. You still have all of this inactivated testosterone, and you still have estrogen and all of that. And so it does need to be cleaned up, and Dr. Faith is going to come back and tell us how we do that.
All right, I feel like it's like a change of I don't know what. All right. Okay, so what are we going to do now and clean everything up? There's two things I recommend a lot, but because you guys live so far away, I'm going to tell you the two top things I recommend. One is called visceral manipulation and neural manipulation. A lot of people have no idea what that is, because not a lot of people do it here out west. It's a little more popular in the East. It's really popular in France. What it is visceral is your organs, neural is your nerves. So viscerally, when you were in an embryo, your organs were all in a rhythm. And getting your organs back to that rhythm is really important. Like Emery said, sometimes even kidneys drop. And what gets organs to move? Stress, toxic or poor food, but accidents, pregnancy, but even simple things like, I was actually in my clinic, it was a little embarrassing, actually it was a lot embarrassing. And we have this mat where people check out, and we had a chair there, and I went to sit down, and the mat's really smooth, and the chair went out from under me, and I fell on my bottom in front of clients. But anyway, the next day I had Amory check my kidneys, and my left one had dropped. So even just simple accidents like that can get your organs to move. And that's not really good, because remember, we need our organs to be, sorry guys, there's something in the air here. We need our organs to be functioning, because when our organs are in the right rhythm, they come in, they exchange oxygen and nutrients, then they go back out. And if they're not in the right rhythm, say they're going like this, that exchange of oxygen and nutrients isn't happening. And so my daughter Amory, she's also a licensed massage therapist. She is one of the few people in Utah, Idaho, Wyoming that has taken advanced classes from the Brawl Institute. It's out of France. And they actually call visceral and neural manipulation cutlass surgery, because a lot of doctors over in France have people go and have this done first before they go in and do surgery, because they know once you cut someone open, you're going to deal with scar tissues, and you're going to deal with longer healing times, and a lot of times it's going to cause your organs to not get them out of the right rhythm. And so if you can have this done, it's a lot gentler of everything than surgery is. And just so you know, a lot of older people, surgery when you go under anesthesia helps to accelerate dementia and Alzheimer's, which is becoming a bigger and bigger deal today. So we do this. We have people that come hours away to have this done in our clinic, because my daughter is one of the few that is really advanced at it. There's a lot of people, like I know the really basics of it, but she is like so far more advanced than me. It's fabulous. I do other things, she does that. So anyway, but the other thing we recommend is cleansing. And it used to be like 15 years ago, if you came in, I would be like, go take these toxins out of your life, let's do a cleanse and you'll be good. But the world we live in today, you can't take out enough toxins. Like, they surround us, they're everywhere. And so about probably 10 years ago, maybe 8, they started, naturally they said, you know what, we can't take enough toxins out They now have gone to recommending full body cleanses twice a year. Spring and fall is ideal. But if you do it in the summer and the winter, it doesn't really matter. Just getting it done twice a year is the best. We have some people that come in, and I'll be like, oh, you need this cleanse or that cleanse. And they're like, you know what, I did a liver cleanse and I couldn't leave the bathroom for a week. And I was like, well, you did not do one by a naturopathic doctor, because naturally when we go to school, we are taught that all cleanses should work with the body. If it's working against the body, it can actually do more damage than it does good. So we're taught everything should work with the body. You should be able to go through your daily life, and do whatever you need to do and cleanse at the same time. So we actually, we used to carry different brands, but anymore we only recommend our brand. And it's for quite a few different reasons. For years, I had other brands that I carried, and because of microscopy, I could see if I put you on a liver cleanse, if you come back in a month, has the liver cleanse cleaned it up or not? Like, you can visually see it. And you stopped being able to see parasites and liver and kidneys being cleaned up. And so I started looking into the companies that I was using, and I found that they had new leadership on the board, and the leadership came from pharmaceutical companies. And they end up changing ingredients, using cheaper fake ingredients. Nettle should never be white. Nettle is green, everyone, if you don't know what color nettle is. So if you're getting a capsule and it's white, you know that it has been processed. We actually only use tinctures anymore. Tinctures are very bioavailable. You put them in your mouth and they go to work like that, instantly. There's no waiting for the digestive system. They're finding that a lot of times pills actually make the digestive system sluggish, and so many people have digestion issues today that it's just not even funny. So almost every single one of them is liquid except for our large and our small intestine cleanse, and that's a tea. The large intestine's a tea, and the small intestines is a scoop of different herbs that you put in like a fruit smoothie or just in water, either way that you'd like to take it. Our products it's made by 2 naturopathic doctors, master herbalists. A lot of the products, when we are looking to change, a lot of them are made by scientists, and they don't really understand the chemical makeup of herbs or the body, and so we feel like it's a big deal. We actually make them personally ourselves, and we put a lot of time and effort into it, and sometimes my kids will call and I'm in the middle of it and they're like, oh my goodness. It's quite a process to do, because we do a slow maceration. And so each bottle has taken 2 weeks to make. It's not made quick because we feel like some of the energetics in the herbs are lost that way. The other thing that I really like about our products is that I verify, like, these products, when they stopped working, like, I had never used the products in my store because I'm a master herbalist. I collect my own herbs, I grow my own herbs. And so my kids and me use other products that I make. And so when they stopped working, I started bringing some things into my office for people, clients to try. And I actually found, looking at their blood, that it actually worked better than the previous products I was using. And that's really kind of how it was made. Like, I have a daughter who had a child, and then she had 2 miscarriages. And so I made some pregnancy things for her, and digestion, some nutritive, a vitamin B. And that's kind of how our pregnancy line got started. Was originally I just had them for her, she was using them. And so a lot of our things have been tried not only by my family, I give them to my family. Just so you know, my daughter got pregnant, and then got pregnant now with twins. And twins are really crazy. I had no idea. My respect for parents of twins has like quadrupled, because it isn't like twice as hard, it's like 4 or 5, 6 times as hard as having twins. I love them, they're so dear. I love to hold them, but they're a lot of work. And so anyway, a lot of our products have been used by my family and by my clients. And I verify everything in the blood because I do microscopy. I look at your blood before, I put them on whatever it is I think they need, and I look at it afterwards. I know that it works. just so you understand microscopy, I take a drop of your blood, put it under a microscope, it comes up on a screen, not quite as big as this, but a decent sized screen behind me. Your blood is still moving, your red blood cells are still moving. If you have bacteria, it's definitely moving in your blood. You sit there and watch the whole thing while I show you everything going on in your blood. I tell you what your red blood cells look like, what they need, your white blood cells, like I said, bacteria and parasites and thyroid issues and liver, kidneys, inflammation, where it's located at. Like, it's amazing what you can see in your blood. But I verify everything that I make through the blood because I can see gallbladder and sugar. If your blood isn't absorbing insulin, I can see it in your blood. I can see plastic in your blood. I can see debris in your blood. Like, it's crazy the things that we can see in your blood. And but I feel like it's important. I don't want to just sell anything, and that isn't my point. My point is that what I give you is going to work, and I know it works. I have the confidence to tell you it will work. Just so you also know, microscopy is really different because, like, we had a lady came in, I don't even know, several months ago, and she had a blood panel done, and her thyroid, and as far as in the ranges, it was in the range, it was fine. When we looked at her blood, she had so many thyroid issues showing up in her blood, it was crazy. And I was like, I know your blood panel says your thyroid's fine, but I'm telling you, this is like your river of life. And what I see in your blood is going to show up in your body in the next couple of months, guaranteed, because it is what controls your organs and everything. And so we put her on some thyroid medicine. This lady had narcolepsy, so she could only be awake for about an hour or two a day, and then she'd have to go take a nap. And then she'd wake up for an hour or two, and then she'd have to go take a nap, and it was really severe. And so she's been into our office, and we've been working with a couple different things. Anyway, she came back, was it this last week or the week before? It was this last week. And she had watched her grandkid over the weekend. And she goes, the next day I did have to go take a nap. But she said, but I watched him over the whole weekend. And I didn't have to go take naps. And so by looking at your blood, we're really able to get down to what is going on, even if Western medicine says, oh, this is right, this is fine, it's in this right range. Your blood tells a whole different story. But this is our whole body cleanse. Our whole body cleanse has a lot of different things. It has a general cleanse, which is really a blood cleanse. I didn't want to call it a blood cleanse because I thought that sounded maybe a little morbid. So we call it a general cleanse, but it cleans up your blood, the toxins, plastic, things like that are in there. Then we recommend you do a kidney cleanse. From kidney cleanse, we actually then go to your small and your large intestines. All of these are about 2 weeks that you're on the cleanse. And then you finish up with the liver. And we want to go kidneys, then large and small intestines, because what we're doing is we're trying to make, when we clean your liver, like free flowing out of your body so it's not getting stuck and clogged and causing more digestive issues. So then we have a liver cleanse, and that one you do longer. Most people go about 4 weeks. Sometimes they'll go a little longer because they feel so good on the liver cleanse. And then we do have supportive things, like we do vitamin B, our methylated B vitamin. I've never seen anything like it. It cleans up your red blood cells, gives you energy. Anyone I recommend it to and they take it, they're like, I love this. And it is fabulous. We do a vitamin C in there, vitamin D is in there, a nutritive, which is like a multivitamin, is in there as well. And then we also do heavy metals and lymphatics, and they each have their own somewhere in here. And heavy metals, just because our water, our air, planes, everything is putting metal in our body, and so when we're detoxing, it's good to just keep getting that moved out. And then lymphatics for the same reason. It's the last system our toxins go through to get when they're leaving the body. And if your lymphatic system is sluggish, then those toxins are going to stay in your body. So we also put a lymphatic cleanse in there that we have you do the whole time, just so your body can continue to release those toxins. And then also with our full body cleanse, we sell, or it comes with, we called it Natural Health Line. It's like a teledoc. So you can, we'll set up a time, you call in, We make sure that you're on the right regimen, that you don't need anything else. You can ask every question you have. Essentially, it's like Teladoc. And so it comes with our full body cleanse. The other one that we have that we're selling as a bundle here, these are all online. Just here today, they're the other one's 25% off and this is 20% off. We just thought we'd give you a discount while we're here. We only brought so many of them just because you have to travel and you can only fit so much in a car. So anyway, this is our hormone cleanse. Some people actually combine the hormone cleanse with the full body cleanse. So they'll do the full body and they'll add one of the hormones with it. But some people just do the hormone cleanse. And it's a liver cleanse because remember, going back to in the center, we do liver, we do thyroid and adrenal support, which is on the bottom because we never work on the thyroid without working on adrenals. And then as far as the top, whether it's testosterone, estrogen, or progesterone, we have some for men because they're different than women. We, I think, all agreed on that. But then we have hormones for younger girls and for older girls, people more going into menopause. When I say hormones, they're all plant-based. They're there to just support it, to help balance everything out, to get to where that whole graph that I showed you is balanced and is working well. These are, like I told you, the best products we have. We actually sell a lot of them because they're so good and people tell their friends about it. All of these actually, there's enough to do 1 year, so do a cleanse twice a year. So when you pay for it, that's enough for 2, except for the large and small intestines, you do have to purchase those again, but those are like, I think $20 online, but don't quote me on it. My marketing team does kind of their own thing. So anyway, they are fabulous. Like I said, they are the very best. And we've spent oodles of time making and coming up with them. Any questions? Because I know I'm almost out of time. I try to talk really fast at the end. Any questions, guys? Yeah.
Can we buy them online today and get the 20%, or do we have to buy them?
If you want to buy them online, come and talk to me. We have like this spin the wheel thing where you can get coupons, and I give you the coupon code for the percentage off. So you could do that and then it could be shipped to you. So anyway, any other questions? Yes?
Do you recommend like having your blood work looked at and stuff before doing the cleanse?
If you were local, I would tell you yes. If you're not local, I mean, it is 3 hours. Is that what it took us to get here? I would probably just start it. When I did this in Idaho Falls, a lot of people started the cleanse and then came in during the middle of it to have their blood looked at. And when we look at the blood, it is an hour and a half, but like I said, we go over nutrition, we go over movement, we go over, quite a few different things because it is a whole body. Now, when you call, you can call and go over that too. I'm probably going to ask you, what are you eating? Because it plays a part in your health. And if you're wanting to get to healthy, you're wanting to feel better, what you're eating is going to play a part of that. And so, so it can go either way. I've had them do both. So, any other questions? All right, well, you guys were a really quiet audience. Normally I have a lot of questions. But come see me at my booth, Spin the Wheel. We do have some free products that we are giving away there. And anyway, I think that's it. Thanks.
Thank you.